morning, Drew. Good morning, Jesse. Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday. Is it Thursday?
It's Thursday. I'm thinking it's Wednesday, but it's Thursday.
Yeah, it is Thursday, March the 7th. This is Dork Duck Daily. The daily. When did we decide as a culture that daily means Monday through Friday? Because you can't get away with something that's called a daily show that like skips any day Monday through Friday, right? But you could call something daily as long as it skips the weekend. Right, but like when does that decide? Who?
I don't know, but apparently my brain has accepted it as fact.
Well, mine too. Drew says he can't have audio today because flu-ridden Kimmy's. Oh no, yeah, stuff's going around. Knock on wood, it has skipped us, but everyone commenting this week has been like, yeah, I'm dying, and then my gaming group meets tonight, and there's a lot of one guy really it's adorable. He loves cooking, but gun to his head, he would never tell you that. But he uses this gaming night as an excuse to whip it up Top Chef style. And so we get menu texts early Thursday morning, and so those were coming through. And the one guy was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be bringing soup because that's all my body can. I'm no longer sick where I feel like I can't come, but I don't feel like I can be eating anything but soup." So that stuff is going around, and it's been a nasty kind of season for that. So I hope everyone out there is doing okay, because that's been collectively. There's just been a whole lot of nope, I'm dying. Snoopy says the only thing dying for me right now is my wallet. I love the beginning of the month with all the bills hit. Yeah. At least you've avoided the sickness. But no, we've not avoided the beginning of the month nonsense either. The problem too is then when you start stacking new bills on, they ask you when you want to be billed, and you're like, the middle of the month, and you're like, that'll make it better because then it's in the middle, and then you just go why do I never have money? And it's because I built 2 nightmare days instead of 1.
I have bills in the middle or in the beginning of the month that are less, and then I have bills in the middle of the month, which would be normally my credit card bills, and then I pay half the mortgage in the end of the month. So I've it seems to be working, but I've sort of screwed myself over to where I'm okay, at some point during the month, I'm just going to be out of money, living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah.
And then you have a season of maybe I'm doing. My thing is I always have a small glimmer of hope at the piece of every month where it's oh man, everything's okay, and then it's just something inevitably happens. Oh man, you feel you're broke free from the line. You're running with the football. You see the end zone, and then 16 football players just come and tackle you every single time.
Seems like that's how it is every month.
Yep, every single month.
Oh man, I think I'm getting ahead finally.
No.
Joke's on me, I guess.
Yeah, I think we're all broke right now, Stoopy. It's a fun time. Her mic shouldn't be off. She's just probably not speaking into it.
I'm literally right next to it.
Yeah, but you have it pointed away from you.
But I'm right next to it. My head is.
Yeah, but these mics work really well if you're like this. They don't work well if you're like this.
Well, what's the point of them then?
Or like this.
They're expensive studio mics, but you can't. You have to eat the mic.
Yeah.
Oh, my mic is off. It's got a red light on it.
No, it should be working.
It literally says off.
Okay, hit a button on it.
Hit a button? What are you talking? I didn't turn it on.
I could tell you it's working though. Look at the screen.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, they can hear you when you do this.
Nobody talk. Ready? Watch. Oh look, it still can hear me. That's weird.
Yeah.
What is this? What is this button for?
We'll talk about it later. This is not while the show is going conversation. But no, these mics work really great like this. When you're like this, they don't work as great.
The captions are just stuck on "I'm dying." For me, like the auto-generated Facebook captions. It just says "I'm dying." And it's not moving.
It's not moving from that. Poor Drew. That's how he's watching the whole show. All right. Every day, we're going to bring you all the news that you need to care about in a segment called. What's the segment called? What, Selena? What's the segment called?
I don't know, Jeff. What's it called?
It's the Daily Quack. Are you don't like the bit where you have to say the name of the thing? Are you done with it?
I'm done with bits in general. After yesterday.
Oh, the Minion stream? The Minion... Oh, okay, so...
That was a bad bit, though.
That was a bad bit.
It was...
I was looking forward to Fatal Frame.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, that other game, too, looks really cool. Like, I'd never heard of that before. And so, probably she'll play one of those too next week because they're all patron picks. They're just like we
so
let people vote it on.
Beat the Minions game.
You don't have to beat the Minions game.
I think I was close to beating it anyway. There was
if you want to beat it,
I actually don't.
I thought you were about to say do it. I was like, woo, okay.
Like, part of me want just so that I can say that I suffered for a reason, but the other part of me is like I don't think because the levels were just getting harder and harder.
I've never seen you nope out of a stream so many times during it. You took 14 bathroom breaks.
Yeah,
you took a couple snack breaks.
2 of those were me literally just being like, I wonder if I can guilt Jeff into letting me not do this.
No, that was not the case.
No, he was very much just like, no, you have to. It was like having to go to school all over again. You're like, no, you have to go finish the stream.
It being a puzzle game on top of everything else was pretty amazing because she also hates puzzle games. So it was just as bad of a proposition as not only Minions but also a puzzle game. And
Snoopy says for shame on those who voted for Minions. I'm on Lena's side. That game is awful. Thank you. It was pretty bad, honestly, and it wasn't even bad in a fun way. It was bad in my head hurt.
My brain liked the puzzle of not only Nintendo DS emulation, but how to position it well on the screen too, because it's a weird shape.
Yeah, but pick a better game for that. You could literally do that puzzle part anytime.
Well, I haven't had to, but I had to because of this Minions game. So that was my brain had fun.
Oh, good for you. I'm glad someone had fun.
All right. Probably our top story today, unfortunately. Rooster Teeth is shutting down after 21 years. This is once again a crime from our friends at the great company Warner Brothers Discovery, which this show has only been on for 4 days, and we could basically make the what shit did Warner Brothers Discovery do today show. This is from Todd Spangler over at Variety. Also, big thanks to Ross who sent this over because my aggregators, for whatever reason, were like, Rooster Teeth, what's that? Let's not post that on there. Parent company Warner Brothers Discovery, after unsuccessful attempts to sell the unprofitable fandom gaming and comedy entertainment division, is shutting down Rooster Teeth's operations. Rooster Teeth general manager Jordan Levin announced the shutdown of Austin-based Rooster Teeth at an all-hands meeting Wednesday and in a memo distributed to staff. The closure of Rooster Teeth will result in layoffs of its approximately 150 full-time employees and will throw dozens of contractors and content creators out of work as well. It's with a heavy heart that I announced that Rooster Teeth is shutting down due to challenges facing digital media. It's a good thing we're not trying to launch a digital media company, huh?
I know, right?
Resulting from fundamental shifts in consumer behavior and monetization across platforms, advertising, and patronage. Levin wrote in the memo obtained by Variety. Our legacy is not just a collection of content, but a history of pixels burned into your screens, minds, and hearts. Oh, okay, bud.
Kind of aggressive.
I think it's meant to be sweet.
Yeah, it came across as both.
Yeah. Warner Brothers Discovery is currently in talks to sell the rights to certain Rooster Teeth catalog content and intellectual property such as the popular anime-style series RWBY, pioneering sci-fi spoof Red vs. Blue, and Michael B. Jordan's animated mecha series Gen Lock. In addition, WBD is trying to sell the Roost Podcast Network, with shows spanning gaming, true crime, fandom, comedy, and food, which for the time being will continue to operate. Warner Brothers Discovery thanks Rooster Teeth's groundbreaking creators and partners and the strong management team for their many years of success. The media company said in a statement, "Your passionate and loyal fans are a testament to your achievements." It celebrated its 20th birthday last year with the launch of new logos and a new tagline, "Just Playing." The company had cultivated an ardent fan base, became an internet video. Red vs. Blue was pretty integral to like junior high Jeff. Like that was everything. My best friend Travis, who's been hanging out for the show a lot this week, and we lived at each other's houses growing up, and just. I think 50% of the words that came out of our mouth was either Homestar Runner or Red versus Blue. Like that was just how it was. And that is my relationship with Rooster Teeth for the most part. Is that I remember as they got bigger and bigger and started becoming their own little like media empire, going like, weird, the Red versus Blue guys are doing that, and like when RWBY was a huge ass thing, being like, weird, that's the Red versus Blue guys, and like all their podcasts and everything else, because my relationship with them was that like initial stuff, and it's a spider, get it off, it's blue, it's a blue spider, get it off, like that's my relationship with Rooster Teeth. But they're this thing that now has existed for years, has 150 employees, and things are weird out there right now. As someone who's running a thing with not 150 employees, it's gotten weird and less reliable to try to figure out how to make money with all of this stuff right now. And so I, on some level, get it. On the other hand, just between all the layoffs everywhere, all these corporations shutting everything down, and it's just everything sucks with this stuff. Like watching the PlayStation lay off all the people that made, not all of them, but a huge chunk of the people that made the Spider-Man game that everybody loved this year. And it's like, they made a really great game that everyone liked, and they got layoffs too. Like what is happening?
Do you think its decline could have had anything to do? It's been a really long time since then, so I would think maybe like they rebuilt from that, but anything to do with like the Ryan Haywood stuff?
I mean, it's when did all that go down? Because he's not been there for a minute,
I think
right?
They fired him pretty much, not instantly, but close enough to where they could have avoided any backlash. I think they did avoid most of the backlash.
Snoopy says, I see WB selling off a bunch of shit in the next year or two because they're dumb as fuck. Yeah, unfortunately. Ross says all he wanted to do for a long time was work at that company. And I felt the same way about Giant Bomb, which like Giant Bomb is like still around, I guess. But like it's definitely not what it was. It's a shell of what it once was, and it's managed to kind of continue to exist, but like, gosh, it's not even Redfin. That they've been bought and sold so many times now too. Because the problem was like back when like Giant Bomb and Rooster Teeth were like building up, like, because the problem hits pretty quick, because we were getting up there too, where it was like when we had 6-7 employees, you start hitting questions like, okay, we need to, if we're going to hit this next level where people can have health insurance, which is like we need to do, how are we going to do that? And the answer used to be like, find one of these corporations to buy you up, and they like having these while money is cheap, they like accumulating all this stuff and having arsenals of like, cool, and you do this and look at all these things in our portfolio, and that gets your team health insurance and some stability. You know, there's no longer like, whoop, guys, sorry guys, we can't send paychecks out this month. You know, you have like a structure behind you, like, and it's nice until it's not, because the thing is, like, when there's no structure behind, when the world gets like this right now, you can be like, I don't know, we're called Dork Duck now. We're still going. We'll figure it out. But when there's a structure behind you, like, then they're like, I don't know, we're shutting it down. And then you don't own your thing anymore. And the Rooster Teeth stuff is especially weird because, like, maybe Ross can say, I can't remember, like, if any of the initial people were still there, because I know, like, there was all those controversies, and I think that's what Selena's trying to figure out right now.
So apparently there was a civil lawsuit filed in 2020, or it was filed in 2022, but it's been going on. The last update is from July, I think that's July 18th, 2023, against both Ryan Haywood and Rooster Teeth.
Okay.
So it's like, but that case was not dismissed, but I'm not good with legal shit. It basically was like, we're not moving forward with this right now, but you can reopen it at a later time. Like, they didn't close it. They left her the option to, like, come back at a later time to reopen it.
Like, reopen it and relitigate it.
So it's like, if that's just been happening between 2022 and 2023, that's the only one I'm seeing, though. So I don't know that would have any effect on it. It definitely, when everything was coming out, people were very much like, all right, what's your stance, Rooster Teeth? Like, but I think they handled it, at least from what I remember,
as well as he could.
It's been a really long time since then.
Ross says Jeff and Gus. Are those the people that are still there, that were there from the start? Again, my relationship with this company is like, is the spider gonna, which I'm sure is very frustrating to someone like Ross, who was a big fan, but like, it was, wow, am I wildly into Red versus Blue and can quote all of it end to end, because that's who I was on the internet at 14, and then nothing else. I watched the DC Ruby crossover. Did
Oh yeah, that was really good.
That was very good.
Like, and I didn't really get into Ruby at all, because Ruby was coming out when I was like at that age where I was like, I think I'm too cool for this. Again, I think I have that a lot.
Yeah.
But like, I just didn't get into it, and I think like it's something that I definitely could have had I given it a shot. But like, I was very much against it. Also, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really, really into anime, and this animation style just feels wrong.
Oh, like, the like kind of like weird cell shaded.
Yeah, like the 3D. Like, I thought it looked cool. There was too many things.
I don't know. For me, it just feels like I'm watching one of those JRPGs that I play.
Oh, that could be almost appealing, though, because...
It works for me. I forgot that you were not Lena. That was Nate's name for a minute. And past thing. So Nate continues to be not Lena. Okay. Let's or no, Emmanuel is not Lena. This is a different not Lena.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't Emmanuel's name not Lena there for a second?
No, mine was not Emmanuel.
I can't remember. It's been too long.
And then I was like jokingly upset about it, and I was like, change my name to my actual name.
Ross says, yeah, Jeff and Gus were there for the start. Jeff started Achievement Hunter, and Gus started the podcast. Yeah, it's all kind of crazy and wild, and I know multiple, like my D&D group chat was just talking about this and nothing but this yesterday. And then there's there have been several stories this week we haven't covered that are all like HBO Discovery did this, HBO Warner Brothers Discovery did this, and like one of them, I can't even remember which one, like started with like, the entertainment the supposedly entertainment company that's in some sort of wolf's clothing, Warner Brothers Discovery, like, oh man, like everyone is just done. Like they're just so frustrated with every decision this company is making, and it's the true dark side of, like I remember when like all of the Marvel stuff was at its height, and like people were mixed, but like mixed to positive on the Star Wars stuff, with Disney, and I remember just being like, the problem with one company owning all the things is that it could go really bad really fast. And this is like kind of the dark universe version of the Disney stuff of like, why do you own everything I love? Stop owning everything I love. Just if you're give it to someone else, please. All right. Do you guys remember the whole story with Alec Baldwin shooting somebody?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
On the film Rust. Well, that actually led to full ass conviction yesterday. The armor from Rust armor, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, guilty of involuntary manslaughter and accidental shooting. This is from Gene Mattis over at Variety. Hannah Gutierrez Reed, the armor of the ill-fated Western film Rust, was convicted on Wednesday of involuntary manslaughter in the death of the film's cinematographer. Jurors returned a verdict after less than 3 hours of deliberations on Wednesday afternoon, following 2 weeks of testimony about safety lapses on set. Gutierrez Reed was acquitted of separate charges of tampering with evidence. She faces up to 18 months in prison at sentencing, which is expected sometime in April. Following the verdict, Judge Mary Marlowe Sommer ordered Gutierrez Reed remanded into custody as her attorney, Monica Perez, rubbed her back to comfort. That's a weird thing to put in an article. Yeah, so this is... this specific death in cinema thing has not happened since The Crow, where like someone was literally shot and killed. And from what I've heard on kind of the various podcasts I've listened to over the past like year since this happened, I swear we were at a con or something. Like I think I was in a hotel room when we got this news that it was like, holy crap, Alec Baldwin shot somebody. Like it was like,
was it when we were at Cedar Point?
Maybe.
I feel like
we were somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was the weirdest news story. Like, hey, by the way, you know that guy from 30 Rock, he shot and killed somebody. And then being like, okay, well, what does that mean? And sitting there reading about it and trying to figure it out. It was weird and it was wild, but listening to podcasts and stuff over the last year since it happened, there's a lot of people saying that like there's a whole the way that when you are on a plane, that they go like, here's how your seat can be a flotation device, and here's how the thing falls down, and you can put there's a whole thing like that for gun safety on sets that they were supposed to go through every time. And that started at The Crow. Like after it happened on The Crow with Brandon Lee, in the aftermath of that, they set up this whole like rigmarole of like, hi, I'm the gun safety person. I need to walk the entire set through this. This is what I do. And they said that just kind of like in the same way that when you get on a plane, they start into that and everyone just kind of rolls their eyes and like, all right, yeah, my seat's a flotation device. I've heard this a billion times. Everyone was just kind of like, okay, yeah, this is never going to happen again. So like, why are we even going through this? Why are we even doing this? And then it did. And this person, I think probably rightfully is going to jail for it. Dylan says, this quite literally, you had one job. It's sad, but her actions led directly to somebody's death. That's the definition of involuntary manslaughter. Yeah. Exactly. And, it messes up, if you're, I know the guy who, under similar circumstances, was the person who pulled the trigger who shot Brandon Lee has talked about like it just messing him up. And I'm sure, it's like for various reasons, whether it's his political positions or him calling and leaving voicemails on his daughter's thing, or you don't like 30 Rock, for various reasons, like Alec Baldwin makes a fun punching bag for people, but he's still a human being, and there's no way that this doesn't mess you up. It's just kind of crazy and insane. But I think they probably went with the right thing here. Probably. I'm no lawyer, but that
Sure.
I could be.
Okay.
Let's see. See if anyone's over here talking about it. No, we're just talking about. Okay, apparently Nate, you're now not Jeff. That's your that's your official name. Okay. In the better news, but Variety has a story that I really recommend everyone reading. Called How Nimona Overcame Staggering Setbacks and Wound Up in the Oscar Race. This is by Kathy Stephen.
We need to rewatch this at some point. It's so good.
Have you read the comic?
No,
I
wanted to, and then I didn't.
The comic book Nimona was incredible. I first encountered it when my oldest is an artist, and I hired someone I went to school with to do like one-on-one art lessons with my oldest when he was like 9 or 10, something like that. And she, Anna Short, which a lot of you guys know, used Nimona as like a tool. Like, hey, this person made all this. They wrote it, they drew it, they created it. It's cool. It's queer. Like, check this out. And that was the first time I encountered it. I guess it started as a webcomic and then got published in like book form after that. And then that thing was incredible. I was like, this is really, really good. I don't know why I know. And it's been in and out of print and sometimes really hard to find, after the fact. But then it was becoming a movie, and it was just one of those things where it's like those of us who had read the comic were like excited about it. But it felt like one of those movies that was never actually going to come out because it got caught up in the Blue Sky Disney thing. If y'all remember, Blue Sky Studios was the animation arm of, I think, Fox, right? Famously, they're the what's the Ray Romano, like, mammoth movies? Ice Age, yes, thank you. Ice Age was like their biggest thing, right? Which I went on,
Of course.
my first real date ever to Ice Age 1 because I'm old.
How old were you?
Probably 14, 15, something like that. So my parents sat 4 rows back because they were worried I was going to get up to something in the movie Ice Age.
My grandparents took me to see Ice Age in theaters.
Yeah.
Maybe we were in the same theaters.
You're hanging out with my parents.
I wasn't hanging out with your parents. I was with my grandparents.
I forget I'm older than you.
Yeah.
When he said your first day was Ice Age, I was like, God damn, I was like 20 when that came out. It's like, damn, Jeff.
Yeah, I was 14, 15, something like that. I remember because it was like supposed to be a group. Like I did the thing where I was like, come on, mom and dad, it's fine. It's a whole group thing. A whole bunch of people are going. It was just me and my girlfriend meeting at the theater.
Lie?
100%. Yeah, because I went.
Like just no one else showed up, and I was like,
that's what I told my parents.
I don't know what everyone else is saying.
But they're like, it's a good thing we showed up because no one else did. And I was like,
yeah, so great. Wow.
I'm like, also, I'm like 15 and you have to sit in a movie theater with me because I'm sitting with a girl. Yeah, and that was, but they were also like, you can have a computer in your room. It's fine. Very weird decisions parenting. But yeah, Ice Age was their big thing. And they had, I think their final film was that Spies in Disguise, right? And then Disney, when Disney bought Fox, Disney ended up with them. And it's like Disney doesn't really need an extra animation studio.
They have a lot. Disney. They own.
Well, they own Disney and animation studio, obviously, and then they own Pixar.
That's everything.
Which I believe is 2 separate entities still, although that's always like threatening to like squeeze together.
Who is Anastasia by?
That was Fox.
Okay, I thought so.
But I don't think they were calling themselves Blue Sky. I think that was technically the end of like the Don Bluth studio stuff. So, well, not the end, because I think Titan AE after that. So that was Fox, but not Blue Sky. Blue Sky was its own thing that's post Don Bluth. And yeah, it's once Disney bought it, this movie seemed like DOA. And there's a bunch of stuff in this article too about like, Disney fighting with it. We were in the middle of COVID. Disney was hemorrhaging money. We knew that the parks weren't making money. The hotels weren't making money. The cruise lines and movie theaters, everybody was hemorrhaging money. Zachary says, adding they didn't get a heads up when Disney ultimately shuttered the studio in 2021.
I have to pee.
Why did you?
I was just telling you because I didn't know if I could leave.
This isn't Minions. You can survive it. Ryan recalls a 400-person Zoom call in which the crew watched their hard work. Sure, it would never be seen by the public. There were tears, but we were crying and laughing because we had this movie. The movie was done, and it just seemed like it was never going to come out anywhere. Transitioning it from Blue Sky to an independent studio brought a share of growing pains. None of us had done it outside a big studio. We had the support of Annapurna, who were wonderful and also could help us all in the questions that we had. But there was a lot of learning on the job. How do we book an orchestra? How do you arrange post? What does your delivery schedule look like? So I'm not going to read everything in this article. I highly recommend you go check it out. If you've not watched Nimona yet, that movie's great. Did you watch it, Nate?
No.
Oh, high recommendation. It's very like fantasy world. He's a dude who's like a knight that's about to become like, hey, you're head knight guy. But he's lower class and people are like, we don't want this. So they kind of arrange for him to be like framed for like something nasty. So he's then seen by his whole society as a monster. And then she's someone who literally is someone who is seen as a monster because she can transport at will into any kind of like polymorph into anything. They're just always pink, right? So she could be a dragon, she could be like a big bull, big everything, and she's literally like the big monster from all the fairy tales that ruined everything like 100 years ago. And they find friendship while they're and like kind of turn the whole thing around. It's very good, very very good movie. And it's very that like, I'm the bad. She's constantly trying to get him to like just like murder everyone, and he's like, no, we're not gonna do that. Very good. Ross wants to know, does that mean Anastasia is now a Disney princess? I would say probably yes. I would think that's how that works. Dylan says Spies in Disguise is the movie that taught my children what a cloaca is. I will never forget that. Which is fair enough. People are asking if Anastasia is now a Disney princess. Do you have thoughts on that?
Yes.
You think yes?
She is.
As long as that also means that the Queen from Aliens is, I'm down with that logic.
Yeah.
So. Last story. John Mulaney's ex-wife, Anna Marie Tendler, is releasing a memoir.
Oh, and I'm going to read the fuck out of it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Even though I love John Mulaney, I'm still going to read the fuck out of it.
Just to watch the John Mulaney world burn.
No, I like to get both sides of things.
Yeah.
What's the whole like narrative for a while was that like they're both okay with it. They're both okay with it.
I don't think that's true. But
that was the narrative, though. That was people's... They were like, oh, my God, everyone needs to stop butting into other people's lives.
I do think they probably... given like how off the rails he was with drugs and stuff at the time. And
We're
like
giving him a little bit of a
well, people are like either way too hard on him or way too easy on him. They don't like things are nuanced, right? There's a lot of stuff on the in between. That last special where he did the Frank Pryor thing of like being like, hey, let me tell you about how off the rails I was with drugs. Is an incredible stand-up special that Baby J, like, you should watch it.
It's good.
Him talking about like it's a weird thing to brag about, but let me tell you about how star-studded my intervention was. it's very, very solid, very good comedy special. But the dude was out there making lots of mistakes. There was a second where everyone was just like, "Boo, John Mulaney! We thought you were the perfect wife guy." And
that was his whole shtick, though. I think it was like very jarring for a lot of people because we just wanted to believe that there was a man out there that was actually like that. And then it turns out he wasn't. I mean, it's okay because, again, people are like nuanced and he had shit in his life that was happening.
Yeah.
But I think for people who like put him in that role and was just like, oh my God, this man, he was the wife guy.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Ross says, "Who's John Mulaney?" He's probably one of the better, if not by some opinions, best stand-up comedians working right now. He's pretty incredible, and but he had a big public craziness a year or two back, in which he relapsed with drug stuff and then left his wife to have a baby with Olivia Munn of Attack the Show G4 thing.
I think it was also how like quick it was. It was just like, okay, bye, wife.
I think the fact that it was Olivia Munn added to it too.
I don't really know who Olivia Munn is. I'm going to be really honest. With you
don't because it's of a certain age thing, but like. She was probably the girl that was on a lot of guys like Hall Pass. Like, that's the one celeb. Yeah, I get it. That's the one celebrity you could have. Well, every wife was just like, motherfucking Olivia Munn. Why she got to be on my TV every day? Like, being like,
big forehead.
She just so like they did a daily geek show thing, and then she was the hot girl on it.
She
for
was a
years.
Correspondent on the Daily Show with Jon Stewart from 2010 to 2011.
She also did that. She also was Psylocke in X-Men. You just have to understand it was a woman that like every husband was probably obsessed with for a long time, and every wife was kind of annoyed by it. So like the fact that it was her, I think, added to. Because it probably led to a lot of marital conversations where like there was the wife being like, I can't believe John Mulaney, and the guy's being like, oh, good for you, John Mulaney.
But he looks so happy.
He does look very happy with her.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I mean, also his ex-wife matters too, though.
Sure.
Both things can be true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm reading that book.
She's great in the newsroom. Yeah, her and the girl from X-Play, Ross says. Yeah. Wait, Olivia Munn was a hot key girl on G4 TV. Why didn't? Yep. That's I myself have feelings about Olivia Munn and was very much like, good for you, John Mulaney. Funny guys get good. Yeah, funny guys. All right, we got it. We got this figured out. It's fascinating too. Like. She like picked him. Like, I don't know if you've like read the stories of like them getting together, but she was very much like she kept just going to his shows and like being like,
wait, was he still married?
I believe so.
And we're all okay with this. Okay.
It's Olivia Munn. If Olivia Munn chooses you,
I don't know who you are. All right. Well, I hope Olivia Munn chooses you.
I hope Olivia Munn chooses you. That I would be like, I get it. All right. Goodbye. Enjoy your life together. I'm gonna write a memoir.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna happen.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
Every week on Thursday, we're also going to come at you with the comic books that came out that week. It's something we used to do on our show, Rad Raptor Radio, in which we would cover the comic books that we liked that week, sometimes rant about the things that we did not. That's going to be the Thursday section of this show, in which primarily, I think this week, we're going to be talking about one Ultimate X-Men #1 by Peach Momoko. If you've not been paying attention to comic books this year, they're starting a whole new Ultimate Universe, which the pitch of an Ultimate Universe, like before, is like, hey, if you've never really read any comic books, you can start here. It's kind of like a refresh of the Marvel stuff. They've started an Ultimate Spider-Man, which is Spider-Man story. What if he didn't get powers until after he was already married to Mary Jane and had kids? That came out with a third print this week, which feels like it's finally time where it's like if you want to casually wander into a store like Red Raptor Comics and snag a copy, you can, because it's finally not selling for like $15, $20, $30, right? There's Ultimate Black Panther, which was really, really good because it brought Bryan Hill back into comics. A lot of us thought that he had kind of abandoned comics writing just to go off and do film writing. He did some of the best Black Panther work stuff before with Killmonger, and he came back, and it's very good Black Panther book. Certainly one you can start with, right? I would say this Ultimate X-Men #1, more than any of them, feels like a fresh opening start, right? It is Peach Momoko writing and drawing it, which there's a lot of people at the name Peach Momoko. They're automatically in or automatically out. And so that itself will decide it for a lot of people because she has that very colored pencil manga-y style. And some people are just like, no, thank you. And equally, there's people on the other side that are like, yes, please. Yeah. So, and she wrote this, and she drew it. I would say that this is more approachable and more narrative driven than some of the other stuff that she's written and drawn. And it's really, really starting. Like, I would say that, like, coming off of this book specifically, it's hard to be like, yep, I know why that's an X-Men book, but knowing her and knowing where it's I think it'll definitely get there. This feels more like almost like a J-horror, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. I am curious how it's going to play out, too, because in this universe, the maker stopped all the superheroes from gaining their powers to begin with.
Yeah.
So there's no X-Men, and we're getting like the rise of mutants popping up, but in Japan. So we get like Armor's origin, and I guess we're gonna get Sunspot and Silver Samurai coming up. And
yeah.
So it's, I don't know, it's pretty cool seeing it from
Japan's perspective instead of yeah.
Instead of Jean Grey and Scott Summers and the original ones we always see.
Right. Well, it's like especially because like when X-Men started, and I know this from like when we did Nate and I are starting a Patreon only podcast today when we're gonna read through every Spider-Man book, and I used to do one like that with Tim where we were reading through every single X-Men book. Those early X-Men books are not good. they're real bad, and X-Men didn't hit any kind of like, oh my gosh, this is incredible status till Chris Claremont started writing it, which was also like, hey, we're going to do an international team. We're going to do like this guy's from this country and this girl's from this country and this.
Yeah, there's mutants all over the world.
Right. Yeah. And so like your history of the success of the X-Men is very international. But it has its basis in like a very Americanized thing, and it feels like a lot of the takes we get are still just like, America. Yeah. Even though every instance of it being a success is a very international thing. And yeah, this approach of like, let's just do it in Japan. let's do it like it feels like you're reading a manga, which I think is real smart for today's comic book reading audience. You know,
I
because
thought you were gonna say today's youth, and I was like, wow.
the youth. No, but I mean, manga sales are murdering comic book sales.
Yeah, I saw a thing where a volume Demon Slayer outsold all of American comics, like total.
Correct.
For
Yeah.
Just one volume.
Just one volume.
One volume of one manga.
And it's the rough thing about someone like I love superhero comics, and I will never stop reading. You know, like I'm gonna collect and read Batman to the day I die. Whether I own a comic store or don't own a comic store, that's just gonna be me.
Yeah.
And it is wild and fascinating to watch. Yeah, manga just completely eat its lunch and watch a bunch of people that used to read superhero comics not read them anymore, you know, but like get like annoyed that like they're like, well, why is the manga outselling? Like, when's the last time you read a comic? Well, I don't know. I'm not really into that anymore. But why is that manga outselling? Yeah. I think this is real smart. And like there's not been a lot of crossover into that audience because we've certainly struggled before trying to get our manga readers to jump on like some of the you know Western comic book stuff, but this is real. I think it reads like a manga, you know. Well, I guess it reads like we were talking about soul leveling. What are those called? Mangus, because they're colored. Manhwa. I don't know. I'm old. Yeah, I think this book is pretty incredible. Selena even liked it, and she's not the biggest like I'm going to read comics person. She did get instantly angry though because she's like, okay, yeah, I need issue 2. When is that? Next week? And I was like, next month.
This is probably why I haven't gotten into comics, because it's like not an instant gratification thing. It's like, I mean, for ones that are already out, yeah, instant gratification, but like anything current, I have to wait that long for. My brain's just gonna be like, ooh.
Yeah, that's the thing that sucks, because like I read One Piece like weekly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, there's an epic chapter. It's like, now I gotta wait 7 days for the next chapter.
And that's 7 days.
Yeah,
that's not even like a month.
Shit, I gotta wait a whole month for the next issue to come out.
Yeah.
How is it reading? Because like, you know, I have to wait for my manga like to be collected at the full volume thing, so it's like even longer. Mm-hmm. How is it week to week? Like, does it?
It's awesome, but
okay.
Same time, it's like, oh man, I just blew through that chapter. It's like, just get you hyped and ready for the next one. You just gotta wait.
Dylan Holt says, "Love Batman, especially that Tom King run." Right, Jeff? Yeah, that's my favorite run. Definitely of Batman. Love that Tom King run. I do love Tom King himself as a human. He's an adorable little ADHD ex-CIA boy. But yeah, that run in Batman is certainly not my favorite.
Hey, did you do our sponsor yet?
No, I didn't.
We have 10 minutes left.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Also, it's taking all of my power not to just turn this into the me ranting about John Mulaney's ex-wife show, because I'm looking at her Instagram right now.
You can rant about John Mulaney's ex-wife.
She looks so cool. Why would you go from her to, I get it, Olivia Munn is attractive to many people apparently, but
it's not just that she's attractive.
So
it's
cool.
Just, yeah. You just have to remember what, like, at the time, we all, like, sat down to watch Attack of the Show every day.
No, I get it, but, like...
And, like, she was the one that, like, told us about, like, new movies coming out and new everything. And her whole job on that show was, like, hey, I'm here to be the hot person.
There wasn't a lot of hot, nerdy chicks back then.
Yeah. It wasn't the brand it is now.
Yeah.
Where it's just everywhere. Yeah, Dork Duck Daily is brought to you by that effing guy, which I should have read this before we pivoted to comics. And thank you, Selena, for making me do it now.
You're welcome.
So by the way, that effing guy buys books, toys, cards, video games, arcade games, jukeboxes, pinball machines, or anything else cool or collectible. No collection too big or too small. Cash paid on the spot. Make sure you tell him Dork Duck sent you so he gives us a little kickback. Helps us keep this show on the air. Just give him a call at 1-269-358-7534. That's 269-358-7534. And so if you're someone who used to be into comics like crazy, have them floating around or have any of that stuff, give him a holler. He is mostly Michigan-based, but he travels all over the place. So give him a call no matter where you're at. He's in Colorado right now. So I was at a Red Wings game last night when I talked to him, and they were apparently not doing well. So, but he stopped. So we had like a little kerfuffle on eBay, and he left the Red Wings game to give me a phone call at what was like 10:30 our time, but like earlier their time out in Colorado, and I felt so bad. And he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. The Red Wings are getting destroyed." So, yeah. Do you have anything else to say about John Mulaney's wife?
No.
You're allowed.
It's a lot. Like, I was just going through Instagram and like, I can't get it all in 9 minutes. Like,
I see you're going to read the memoir. Well, you can read the memoir and report back to all of us.
oh my God, that sounds like you don't want to know. It's just going to be me like crying into a microphone for an hour. So probably don't want to see that. No, she literally did like a whole art, what is it called? My brain is
Exhibition?
Yeah, they put out art in an art gallery.
Exhibit,
yeah.
Yeah.
Exhibit. She did like something for a whole like art exhibit about like not being ready for motherhood. Like, she does not particularly want children, but she froze her eggs because she was afraid she would change her mind.
Oh, he went off and had a baby right away.
Like, not even less than a year. Like, that's gotta hurt in a way that, like, I don't think... I'm trying to choose my words carefully.
No, it's okay. I mean, I think it's a thing that like people have big feels about, even though none of us are in this relationship.
I was very much like, yeah, go John Mulaney, you get happy, man. And like, I still am in that boat of like, as long as he's happy, like that's important. But like, also, I don't agree with like
how he handled it.
Yeah, or like trying to put her in the category of like crazy ex-wife.
I don't think he was.
No, he wasn't, but a lot of other people were.
I got the sense that he was like off the rails and making lots of, not great decisions, and in the process lost his wife, and in the messy process of like losing his wife also got Olivia Munn pregnant, and then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to be a dad now. I got to, you go off the rails with substances, and then you make decisions. And when you get on the other side and you're putting your life back together, you kind of have to like be like, look at the pieces as they lie, and you got to be a dad, like that's, and Olivia Munn is not the worst baby mama to have in the world. So it's kind of I don't think that.
How long the last?
I don't know.
Like, I wonder. I just wonder these things,
Yeah, I don't get the sense that like these were all very calculated decisions. I think he was just like.
So, do you think the relationship can last since it wasn't a calculated decision?
Sometimes that is better because like sometimes people don't know themselves really well, and the person they find when they're just like is actually a better fit for them than the person that. But oftentimes that's not the case.
Also, I think you and me were talking about this. I don't remember, but it said like you should not enter any relationships that close out of rehab.
Yep, that's
so to get someone pregnant is like a whole nother, like that's beyond entering a relationship. That's like bringing a whole ass human into the world. Like, it's heavy.
Again, she went to all of his comedy shows.
I get it.
And then was like,
I would go to all his comedy shows
and then was like, hi, I'm Olivia Munn.
If I looked like Olivia Munn.
You can only fight it so long. Like, stay away from me, Olivia Munn.
I would do that too. I get her angle. I'm just saying, like,
Dylan says, if I've learned anything from Hollywood, it's that celebrity couples always work out. Yep. Exactly.
Totally.
Nate, what else did you read this week that you want to make sure we highlight?
I just read the new Venom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the start of the Venom Carnage crossover.
The part 1 is Symbiosis Necrosis.
It's just a fun, dumb name. Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty good. Looks like Carnage killed Dylan, but it's not really dead. I don't know. I'm not sure what's...
That weird thing,
Yeah.
which, like, if... I don't hate the idea of, like, killing off Dylan, but I wish we would have gotten more of, like, the Dylan stuff in the I've problems with this particular run of Venom, but, like, when it's good, it's great. It's just, like, it's a lot of it's not what I would have wanted. And then it's like, yeah, if you're going to kill him off, like, really kill... Like, I remember someone said, like, you got any more of these that killed Dylan in this issue? I was like, oh, okay. And then when I read it, I was like, hey, they, though?
Yeah. But I was kind of confused because the last issue, Carnage fought Venom at the wherever they were in this space or whatever, and he said that he killed Dylan and was starting all this shit. But it's like, why not have this issue? Why immediately go to a flashback issue?
Yeah,
it was just kind of the pacing's kind of weird the way they set it up.
But it's the start of them finally facing off. They both. If you're not reading Venom comics right now, Eddie Brock has all the god powers of Null, but Carnage went to other universes and also has all the god powers of Null.
Yep.
And now they're facing off. It's the Venom Carnage face off, but now they're both gods.
Yeah.
And it's at Venom this week, then Carnage next week. So you have to hear us talk about it for 4 weeks.
So, it should be pretty fun though.
Yeah, it's fun nonsense. Did you read Last Ronin?
No, I didn't.
Last Ronin 2, which is a lot like Final Fantasy
X2.
16, right? It's supposed to be. A lot of people are really excited about it. You know, Last Ronin, one of the best-selling comic books in the last couple of years, sold at like Saga, Walking Dead levels of like, you know, everyone coming out of the woodwork to be like, ooh, I need... And so, of course, they're going to make a sequel. You didn't read it at all yet?
Nah. Is this what the other turtles that were at the end of the first one? Or?
So, yeah, I'm gonna be a little pausing before I talk about it more because you haven't read it yet, and I expected this to be a conversation where I was pretty down on it, and you'd be like, remember when I was like shitting all over The Flash, and then you were just like, Jeff, this is a movie about a guy who runs fast. Just have a good time. I think it's probably gonna fall down those lines where it's like. The Last Ronin was absolutely incredible. And it was very much those guys had that story kind of where they had wanted to tell it since the 80s, right? Yeah. And it felt that way. Like they really were like, and it was very like, okay, here is, and if you haven't read Last Ronin, it's incredible. It's very, instead of Old Man Logan, it's very Old Man Turtle. But like meets Blade Runner, it's very, you know, it's Michelangelo, this old man turtle, like he's the last of the turtles alive, and he's on a quest, and it's a very Blade Runner universe, and it's some of the best comic books you'll ever read. It took forever to come out. It's gonna be a game, and so like people are like. Have like some renewed interest in it, and so it's really hard to get the hardcovers in. Every time I get them, we sell out within like a week, and I keep getting more each time they do printing. But they're out there, and if you haven't read The Last Ronin, highly recommend it. I would say this Last Ronin 2, which is of course necessary, because like what are you gonna do? You kind of have to put a follow-up out. I would say for me, it felt more like that, where you kind of have to put a follow-up out. But that's my opinion. Once Nate reads it, I'm sure he's going to come back and be like, what are you talking about? It's incredible. because he still has joy in his heart in a way that I do not anymore. Dylan says, what do you have, guys? Wait, oh, I forgot. We had a Dylan in the chat when we were talking about Dylan dying.
Oh.
I was like, what is he talking about? Yeah, we were talking about Dylan being dead. And, yeah, not you. You're, the world needs your voice on all the audiobooks. We wouldn't kill you off, buddy. Anything else you want to highlight?
That was about it.
Drew said I was just going to ask if Last Ronin was the TMNT or the Hawkeye one. Yeah. And Tyler says, never been a big Batman comic fan. I have a stack of Detective Comics at my house. Are they worth opening and reading? Can't recall what storyline they were off of the top of my head. It depends on what era of Detective Comics it is. Detective is usually an audition space for, hey, I want to write on the main Batman comic. And so because of that, it's more wild and loosey-goosey. But that also means that, like, there's some incredible stuff. There's just also some, like, what is this stuff along around? It's like the comic book equivalent of, like, an open mic to, like, SNL, where you're just like, have you seen Will Ferrell's SNL auditions or something? And you're just like, he just pretends to be a cat for 5 minutes. It's insane. That's kind of what Detective Comics is to the main Batman book. Yeah. That's the comic book stuff for this week. Once again,
You just scrolled past it.
I did.
There you go, buddy.
Dork Duck Daily is brought to you by That F&N Guy. That F&N Guy buys comic books, toys, cards, video games, arcade games, jukeboxes, pinball machines, or anything else cool and collectible. No collection too big or too small. Cash paid on the spot. So if you have a big pile of Detective Comics that you're like, I'm not sure, give him a call. Just make sure you tell him that Dork Duck sent you, so he gives us a little kickback that helps keep this show on the air. Just give him a call at 269-358-7534. It's 269-358-7534.
Yeah.
And we have a Patreon, if you're not aware, patreon.com/dorkduck, where we have extra stuff up there. There's Selena and I starting Running Up Them Hills, which is our Silent Hills playthrough, because of course we're going to name it that, because we still think Stranger Things came out 2 seconds ago.
It did. What are you talking about? Was it 2 years ago?
Was it 2 years ago now?
It was 2 years ago.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Because Peyton, didn't go to Cedar Point last year.
Yeah. Okay.
So
that was 2 years ago. Okay. Goodness. Yeah. It just happened. Time marches on. Also, Nate and I are about to record a podcast exclusive for that, where we're going to be reading through Spider-Man comics from the very beginning. And so that's going to be fun. We're going to do one a week till we get there, and I think we're talking about maybe doing some video game content too. I don't know what that's going to be. We'll figure it out. I will be live later today on our Twitch, which you can find that link. Also, if you're not watching this on Twitch, over on dorkduck.com, and doing some video gamey stuff. And then tomorrow we'll be back with this show, as well as the start of Selena and I doing a playthrough of The Last of Us, which is...
Unless you want Olivia Munn to do it with you. That's totally fine. Just give me a heads up. Preferably one that's more than about 5 months.
Okay.
If you didn't get that reference, it was how long their divorce was between the time that What's-Her-Face was pregnant. Olivia Munn.
Oh, yeah. But I continue to contend that he was probably split with his wife for much longer.
She said it surprised her, so...
The pregnancy?
The divorce.
The divorce? Okay. I don't know. I'm not in their relationship, so I really can't weigh in. Someone
on her book, though, commented underneath and was like, I can't wait. She got custody of me in the divorce. I'm actually excited for it.
Okay. I can't wait to, like, you just be mad at me.
I'm not going to be mad at you. You're not John Mulaney.
Well, she said in the article and the review for it, it's about men entirely.
I know other men, Jeffrey.
So I've been writing this book for 2 years. More accurately, though, I've been writing it for close to 4 decades. And finally, about the endless source of my heartbreak and rage, men. This is just like, I'm divorced and I'm mad and every man sucks, the book. And I'm sure it's great. I'm just looking forward to just being like, why are you mad? And like, because you just read a paragraph or something.
Exited my relationship with my ex, I was mad at all men.
Yeah.
It's not a good stance to take, but like when you're like freshly wounded, you're just
I think dudes do the same but opposite, obviously. Like they leave
we'll
things.
See though. I'll do a whole ass segment on it after I read it. And we'll see if she groups them all into one category.
Thank you all for everyone who hung out while we're doing this thing. Y'all are the best. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. or later today on Twitch for some video game streaming stuff. Or we're on Patreon.
Are you doing solo stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing?
The Nintendo 64. We're gonna rank every Nintendo 64 game. So we're gonna play through them alphabetically, and not committing to playing them super long term, but like, because if we see one and we're like, that's trash, we're gonna put that on the as trash on the list right away. So nice. That's the plan. Cool. So we'll get that going today at 3 p.m. to 5. So thanks so much, everyone. We will see you tomorrow.
Thanks.
Bye.